Welcome to The Oracle Scroll, a podcast for the spiritual seeker. Please join me, Kevin Walder, your host, as we explore living a spiritual life in a very mixed up world. Welcome to The Oracle Scroll Chapter 2. And this episode, we are privileged to have Natasha Venter with us. Natasha is a medium, a personal awareness coach, a feng shui and energy clearing consultant. I need that. So tonight, Natasha is going to speak with us on the subject of safely managing the gift of mediumship. That is something that we all touch once in a while in the spiritual realm. So yeah, how do we protect ourselves out there, and how do we stay open in that process? So with that, I'll turn it over to Natasha. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Well, I am one that to tell you a little bit about myself, I have been intuitive my whole life. I remember being born. I remember the process of even going through my mother and popping out and seeing the doctor's face. So there's been things that have come to me. I remember being picked up out of the crib when I was an infant and things like that. I also remember sitting at a kind of a table where, there was me and this being that we're talking about, so what do you want to do in this lifetime? Where do you want to go in this lifetime? And it was kind of interesting, the decisions I was making. And so with that there's been parts of me that has knowings about what I've been and where I'm going. So when I've been talking about mediumship, I want to open it up to that. A lot of people think it is just about talking about the loved ones around us. Well, to me, mediumship is about how do we interact with the spirit world? How do we work with the spirit around us? That could be the angels, that could be the fairies, that can be the star beings, and I work with all those realms. And as Michael has had me go through his house, I was cleaning out this and I was cleaning out that, his closets and everything like that, because energy isn't necessarily good or bad. It's just where has it been sitting and being stagnant, and how can we get that moving? And so for me, the mediumship is more about how do we interact with ourselves. Many of us too right now have been opening up to a lot more intuitiveness in knowing our things and knowing what's around us. And we've been really being bombarded. Our bodies have been bombarded with this too. And so many of us have been getting ill because of it, or we've been getting, heavy or sticky or anything like that. And it's been amazing to be an observer of how people have walked in life and not really being conscious about how mediumship, spirits around us, affect our bodies. Like I've had a girlfriend that she's intuitive. Her whole family is a bright light, and her kids were always sick because they always had spirits around them. And because if we have those spirits around us too much, they take from our bodies and go and take our energy. And it's amazing how we can do that. Now, me being who I was, I didn't really have problems with spirits walking through my house because I asked for protection. And that is one thing that I wanted to talk about tonight, was a little bit how to protect ourselves. Many of us, I find, when we're tapping into a new knowing about ourselves, or we are doing mediumship, I find a lot of integrity is not being followed. Integrity for thyself and integrity for others. So when I'm talking about things, I'm going to take two sides of the coin, and hopefully the coin can stand upright. So with that many of us don't necessarily say, I'm not going to have you in me. So I'll give you an example. When I am doing a mediumship with a loved one for someone, I don't let them in me. I let them stand next to me.
Mhm.
And a lot of us don't know how to say, not in my house. We need to have that empowerment in us, saying, I want to be a voice for you, but no, you're not allowed. And I'll give you an example. That there was this one time I was in a class and we were doing mediumship, and this spirit was walking around the circle that we were in. And I felt that this person wanted to have a voice. And it was a good voice to say, but there was an attachment to it. And many times there's piggybackers on our spirits that are around us. And one thing I knew is that I couldn't have that person be a message. I couldn't give that message for that person, because if I let that one in, I would have let the other one in. Mm. Well, the sad thing is the person who was next didn't have that knowing and let them both in. Well, guess who had a hard time getting rid of that attachment, that piggybacker? And so what I have discussed with myself, and I hope this can help others around us, is that I have an understanding that we all have gatekeepers. Gatekeeper to me is someone who is a protector of my being and a protector of my soul. So many of us kind of go, well, I have a gatekeeper of an angel, I have a gatekeeper of a guide. What I'm talking about is the gatekeeper of the soul, the one that has been walking with us forever. And I hope that, remembering that your truth is your truths in this journey, that I'm just hoping to update it. I'm hoping to help support some of your truths with new knowings. And if you already know this, I apologize, but I wanted us to get a little bit deeper in knowing our gatekeeper. The gatekeeper that I have that has followed me from soul to soul to soul has, and lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, if I look at him, he's almost looking kind of really ancient. He almost has like a persona about him. You know, he's kind of choppy. He's of the old, ancient beings that he has protected me. And I can tell you that he has actually said, no, you cannot have this being in you. And when we do that, now I also have Archangel Michael, I have Azrael that I work with, Archangel Azrael. I also have many other protectors around me that help me. But this one specific gatekeeper, and I can't tell you his name because it's so ancient, I can't pronounce it, that he has been the one that says this soul needs to stay as pure as it can. And so I would invite to the ones that are here and to any who I would talk to about this is really make the choice to yourself. Who do I let into my house? Who do I let in? Now, I'm a channeler. I'll channel, but I channel only choice beings. I channel Mother Earth. I channel Archangel Michael. I channel pretty much the angels. And, well, that's pretty much it. There's maybe a star being that I feel like are my family that I'll let get closer, but I won't let them in. Does that make sense? So there's like this, I let them in, and then they have to stay away. And when we're working with new knowings of ourselves, with our gifts that are popping up, and many of us are getting more and more knowing of the spirits around us, we have to remember that as a gift comes to us, there's also a back door that things will come in. And that is called the light and the dark, or the light and the shadow. So we need to remember that when we're working with spirit and the mediumship, or however you want to call it, that working with that, knowing that whatever we have coming in that's positive, we have to look what are the lessons that are going to come behind us. And if we can remember that not everything that is for us behind us is a good lesson. and a good thing to have with us. So if, let's say, I ask for a new guide to come in and I open up to that knowing, I also have to ask that my back door gets protected. Make sure my backside is protected so I don't get piggybackers on my back. Does that make sense? And if this doesn't make sense, please let me know. I'm kind of trusting that there's knowings that people have, and if they don't, I would wish for some. I'm into clarity. That's why my email is Angelic Clarifications, because I'm here to help clarify simple language about spirit. And many of us, when we're doing that, it's amazing how we can feel the beings around us, but we don't get bombarded by them. When we start having this deciphering of not in my house. Okay. So trusting ourselves is part of that. We have to trust ourselves to know that the voice that we're hearing and the voice that is coming to us is something that is for our benefit. And that's the disclosure I make. For my team, for who's around me, that I make the disclosure. You know I'm busy. You know I'm going to do the work. You need to protect me. If you want me to do this stepping and this walking, you damn well better protect me and my backside. So with that, knowing that the teams that we have, and I can see angels with every single one of you, I can see yeah, guys have so much family around you too. It's amazing that when we have this around us, it's wise to say we need to take a break from it too. And so that's why I'm saying, have your gatekeepers, have your beings help you and support you that are around you. Is there any questions up to this point yet, or would you like me to clarify anything?
Found interesting. You were talking about piggybackers, and I was wondering if that is what we would also call a soul disentanglement, where somebody else attaches themselves or an entity to your soul and sucks up your energy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of, if you want to take that bag, it's a pretty big, it's got a bag of many different definitions and many different cause and effects in there. Like a piggybacker could be somebody where, if, like in school, I work in an elementary school, I see piggybackers everywhere. There's negative entities, there's positive entities that are attached to these children. That would be called a piggybacker. Now, what I'm talking about in that one conversation is how, if there's a soul, let's say your mother was wanting to talk with me to you. And if I let your mother in, for one, she's not of a pure being like an angel, so I feel like that there would be some heaviness in me anyways. Well, she in her light can have somebody else that says, oh, I like that ride, and come with her. And so then I would have two beings that would be in me, if that makes sense. And so with that, it's clearing up, saying, and if we don't let anybody in at that moment, then we can say, I'm not going to have a problem. I'll listen to the voice. I'll listen to the knowing. Please tap in. And I understand the connection that I have with the universe, that there's going to be this interpretation that I'm going to be doing. Because I have this knowing of what I'm hearing, seeing, and viewing in my being at the movie that's going off that is truth. And I'm going to trust that truth that is coming to me. And hopefully it gives support to you. Does that make sense? Does that help clarify it a little bit?
Yes, it does.
Because we do have many piggybackers. I know for me that right now I'm witnessing a lot of shadow work coming on. In the elementary school I work in, I'm seeing a lot of negative entities. I'm not going to call them devil or anything like that, because everything is, it could be you know, they're not making the kids easy to work with, not happy, not anything like that. And so I'm working on taking that negativity off the child so that they can be their true self and learn what they need to learn. So we all have these attachments that can come to us, but doing medium work to me is part of that process, knowing what's around us, knowing what can be on us. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You know, one thing that happens in this world is that we're always going to have spirits around us. We're always going to have beings around us. Now, for me, like in my house, I've put protection up. And I ask my house angels to come in and clear my house regularly. Because of the fact that in my house, unless I give permission, spirits are not allowed in here. I've made that disclosure. Now, there's sometimes ones that pop in, but I can tell you that there's these little radars that go off in my helper beings that tell me there's somebody in the house and it's not good for us. So with that when we're working with things and beings around us, nothing is perfect. Nothing is a straight shooter. Nothing is well known. I mean, they're sneaky. It's like working with the fairies. You know, the fairies are sneaky. You know, they like to go up and they like to, that's why sometimes we fall on the stairs, because they say, you're not grounded. Let's make sure you ground and let's make you fall. You know, it's like there's all these beings around us that are interacting with us. But the one thing I always want to come back to is how do we protect ourselves? How do we manage our own energy? One of those gifts that I have learned, it's called the word discernment. Discerning what there is and what there isn't. Okay, so discernment. The definition of that is acuteness of judgment, the power to perceive difference between things or ideas, as well as their relationship. So discernment. When I'm getting the tap, I kind of get just this like, Natasha, there's a message for me to tell you, you need to tell this person. So I'm going to give an example. I have a message that a family member wants to give to a coworker. I try to keep my business, but yet at the same time, I'm here to very much give love and support around me. And so with that there's a message that I need to give. Well, my discernment. Okay. For one, I'm not a grocery store. Just don't walk up to me and say, you need to give a message. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to be just a walk through supermarket. Okay. I also tell the angels, if you want me to give this message, because they're my filter, if you want me to give this message, you need to make them available. So what ends up happening is that this coworker and I meet in a doorway. That's one of my triggers to say, okay, I need to give a message. So I'm working the discernment. What am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to say to this person, oh, by the way, you have a mother who loves you and da-da-da-da-da? No, I don't have time for that. So what I'm going to say is, hi, how's your day going? Do you know that you're loved and you're very cared for? And they go, oh, thank you. I needed that message today. And then we move on. So my discernment is that do I filter myself so that I am who I am? Many mediums I find, they blurt. They don't necessarily have that filter that says, oh, by the way, some people don't want to hear that you're a medium. That's right. They just want to hear that you're loved. They're loved, that they cared for, that they need it. Other times when I'm getting that tap and I'm getting that message, I'm checking in with myself. Do I want to be vulnerable enough to give that message? I'm checking in with my own discernment. So one side of the coin, the other side of the coin. Check what it's going to be like for the other person and check what it's going to be like for me. And when I can do that, then there's more of a gift of unison with that person. It's checking in with their energies. And when I can do that, then the message is better received because I'm not forcing myself, I'm not pushing myself on that person. When I do that, I'm also discerning the spirit that's around me. Is this spirit going to be a good message or is it going to be a negative message? I'm not here to give negative things. Now, like the universe tells me, and the angels that I work with tell me, Natasha, you have a gift of telling people. So we're going to tell you if somebody's going to get in a car accident, we want you to say it. But you have a great way of saying it. So we're going to have you say something that's harsh to somebody because you'll have grace with doing it. So I have to check in with my own beings around me to see if this is knowing. Many people who are opening up to many gifts, they blurt. They don't have that, I want to call it the filter of discernment and self-judgment about who am I? What am I doing? Where can I go with this? And when we can do that, it's a gift to be able to be a voice for someone and to be that intuitive person who knows what's around us. I'm starting to get tapped from family, so sorry. I'm kind of saying, is it time yet for me to have that message coming through? And it kind of is. And Michael, I'm hating to tell you this, but it's one for you. Would you like to hear it, my dear?
You're unmuted, Michael. Go ahead.
Oh, hello, yes.
Okay. This is going to be personal, so would you like me to tell you it personally or on this?
Oh, let's share some details and get this Zoom session sizzling.
There you go.
Okay, my dear. See, now that I practice discernment in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I had to give that knowing, I had to know that judgment isn't necessarily a positive or a negative. It's a good filter to see where does things sit. So my dear, okay, so it's someone who you had a hard time with in life, and I'm going to give you that door. It's your mother. She, as we've done work around this, my dear, she has tears in her eyes saying that I'm sorry. I want you to know that you've always been a gift to me. I just didn't know how to see it. And I want you to do the healing work that this dear one has started with you the other night. And I want you to keep going with that because I want us to heal before you cross over into this world. Your physical being, she's saying, my dear, is a gift to be working with. So please stay there as long as you can. Because the ills that were created, and she's not wanting to go into details, you know, that there's this great wisdom that has come from them. And she really wants you to take that out and leave the pain as much alone as you can, which she's very sorry for. She does not know why she did it. She's given you love. She's given you cherishment. And she's given you something that you've never really felt from her. Loving forgiveness for the relationship that you guys had on her side.
Wonderful.
I love you, Michael.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Love and light. Beautiful message. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. There's more, but I feel like that's something that I can't do here. Okay.
Fair enough. Working in the metaphysical realm, I actually felt a lot of energy come through with your message or her message through you, which makes it very real. For me, it touches my heart and my core. Thank you. Thank you for that.
And actually, she's behind you, my dear, touching your back if you feel it. Finally giving you healing energy if you so choose to receive it.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
And actually, there's angels' hands working with her. So you know that it's of pure angel, of pure energy.
That is actually a very important message that you just brought through, a discernment that allows me to trust that. Yeah.
There's a lot of power in that. That was a powerful moment. Thank you for that. Both of you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome. There's a lot of healing that our loved ones want to give right now. And I really feel like that I want to be a voice for a lot of that. At the same time, there's been this disconnect of how do I do that through the discernment and through people wanting to hear, oh, Crumb, that's my loved one. No, I don't want to hear it. No, because for me, I have an understanding. I'll give you some background that my parents passed away when I was 28 and 32. They were both 57. And then my uncle passed away 4 years later. So while I was having my first son, 6 weeks before my first son was born, my dad passed away. Wow. 3 years after that, 3 weeks after my second child was born, my mother was given diagnosis of Lou Gehrig's disease. And then 3 years after she passed, my uncle, my mom's brother, passed. And then about 4 years after that, my grandmother and grandfather. So I've had about 7, 8 years of really dealing with the spirit realm. And my dad, I always said, he walked 1 foot in this world and 1 foot in the spirit world, even when he was here on this world. My family is very intuitive. And so with that he taught me some of those skills of feeling the energies around us. I grew up in a house that was so busy. I didn't even want to go down the bathroom because all I hear was, because it was so busy. Until the day my dad died, and that was the quietest my house ever was that I grew up in. So with that, my dad always had these knowings of the spirit world. And so when he passed, he's actually been one of my guides that helps me support me in doing some of this work. So with that, knowing how grief does open up that spirit world and how to touch those beings that are around us gave me a lot of empathy with feeling that pain of what can be, that grief can be for people, and feeling love and working with that. And so I'm grateful to be in that path. So I'm sorry, Norman, there we go. Thank you. Popped in. Norman, now I've opened up the door. See, this is the problem with mediumship. Once you open up the door, they kind of say, but this is my spirit room, and I allow the spirits to come in. And before I sat down here, I made a mantra to start out was that whatever's happened before this moment, I step aside that so I can be a clear channel and clear voice for everyone, and I could be who I need to be. And so with that opened up the spirit world for me. So things were already tapping in. But Norman, let's go back to you. Did you have someone who was with you when you were younger? He feels like he could have been in the military with you, or he has, so I feel like he's wearing a uniform. And he's more of a grayer uniform with the cap and his everyday clothes. He seemed like he was a kid friend of yours that you've known for a little while before, but he maybe chose the military or something like that. But he's showing me military for some reason, and I just got to trust what I'm getting. Does any of this kind of ring true that you might know somebody?
Yes.
Okay. He he's very proud of you. He says, you've done things that I couldn't have done, dude. He's very impressed with how you've stepped into your vulnerableness as the man that you are. And he's very proud of you for that. And he's choosing these words because he knows how hard it was for you and your generation to break out and be vulnerable in the way that he's talking about. And he knows you. He passed away younger than older, but I feel like that you've known him for a lot of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Does this ring true?
Yes.
He's happy on the other side, but he's grateful. He still wants you to have lots of life. He says you need to get out and get more physical, be more fun. He wants you to add more fun in your life.
I agree with that.
He says you're getting too serious, dude. Serious is more when you go.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yes.
Have fun. He wants you to know that keep going on this walk. He says the more that you're opening up to the spirit world and you're opening up to this knowing in yourself, it's going to be easier for you to know where you're going to go, what's going to happen to you. Okay. You got a long time before you go, but he's telling you that this walk, I'm even starting this walk and I still know that I have many years to go.
Sure.
Does that make sense? So it's not a timeline of life. It's a timeline of where we're going. And he just wants you to start really appreciating life and tapping into your heart chakra, your heart knowings to make you happy so that you can find that joy that you struggled with when you were younger.
That's perfect. Excellent.
Okay.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Good. Because he was a crack up when he was alive, wasn't he? He really enjoyed having fun.
Yes, he did, and that still does.
He does.
On the other side.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you that if you do feel a poke, and it's going to be he pokes you in certain places. He'll poke you like in your back and stuff, or poke you in the shoulder. Come on, get going, keep going. He's gonna tell you that that's going to be one of his keys that he wants to get you to have some fun. Okay?
Yes.
Yet at the same time, I'm going to tell you this, that he understands what it is to spend too much time with you. There are some spirits, and I'm going to name my dad one of them, that he knew that he could not linger around me because he didn't want to pull me down. So this gentleman has been crossed over long enough to know what it's like to hang around somebody. So he's going to pop in and he's going to pop out. Okay. So if you don't feel him around, it's okay. Just know that he does care for you and love you. And he's so grateful for the lifetime that you spent with him.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Even though the years were shorter than what you wanted, but it was a lifetime.
Yes.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Namaste. That's perfect.
Good. So with that, do you see how I really have practiced and stretched that word discernment? Because my gentleness is the gift that I have been told that I'm supposed to give. And, like discernment, the acuteness of judgment. Well, if we take the word judgment, the act of deciding or passing decision on something, the facility of judging truly, wisely, or skillfully, good sense or understanding. So when you take the word acute understanding or willingness or skillfulness of the power that we have as intuitives, and everybody is intuitive.
Yes, they are.
It just depends on how much we trust and how much we want to walk it. The universe, like my cousins say, You know, we're all intuitive, but Natasha, you are different. You're willing to walk it, talk it, live it, be it. And even in my elementary school, I'm still me, but my discernment is really, really set back. Because I can walk down the school, spread my energy, clear out the school, but does anybody know? Do I need to advertise it? No. Okay. Now there's some people say, Natasha, you haven't been to my end of the school lately. I go, oh, well, you haven't even come out of your room to know if I'm there or not. They go, yeah, but we know you haven't been to that end of the school. And they don't even know who I am. They don't know that I'm intuitive, that I do this kind of work. So with that there's all this process of discernment and knowing how to navigate it. We all are going to be opening up more to these process of feeling the energies around us. When we were back in the early 1800s, early 1900s, our filters between the spirit world and us were pretty thick. Now it's almost like if we wanted to walk to a different dimension right now, we could. Tag, I've had troubles with it. So with that they're right there. We just have to open up the door. Okay. And I can tell you that many times when somebody says a name of a family member that has passed, usually they're right there. And I have to say, I can't today. I'm not going to today. Not my job today. Or if this person I'm feeling like is in front of me really needs a message, I'll filter it somehow to give them that message. Okay. So
did you want to open up for Q&A? See if anybody has anything that they need clarification. I'm just going to unmute everybody, so whoever wants to speak up can do so. So, any questions or comments? Anything that wasn't clear or needs a little more explanation?
I might ask, earlier on, Natasha, while you were talking, you told how you perceive a lot of negativity, negative energies around the children at school. And do you see where that's coming from? Is it family handed down? Is it video games? Is it friends? There's so many things going on the planet right now as the veil thins, and it'd be interesting to hear what you're picking up, what you see there.
Thank you for that, because I'm actually grateful that the universe puts me in the elementary school, because it's a great petri dish of an experiment to see what's going on with energy. I am saying that pretty much everything that you've talked about. So to give an example, we have a family, and I'm just going to make this as generally as I can. So we have a family that there's several children in it. The father drinks. The mother is trying to do her best, but she doesn't know how to do better. And, you only know what you're taught, or shown. So, and two of these children had negative entities with them. Actually, when they went into a fit, their eyes would go black. I mean, it wasn't scary to me, because I know who I work with. I know that the angel that I am and the angel that works with me, that I can call them in and say, you deal with them, I'll deal with the child. You deal with the entity, I'll deal with the child. So with that many times when a family member is drinking, that there's an attachment that comes along with drinking. And I'm going to call it an entity. It's in a personality. It's a scenario. It has energy. An alcoholic being has energy with it, which allows that negative energy, allows other negative beings to come in. Okay. I'm going to call them fairies or people who have passed that don't necessarily know that they've died, or they were alcoholic themselves and they're coming in because they want to feed off of and live a little bit more energetically. That makes any sense?
Like the piggybackers you mentioned.
Exactly, exactly. Now I'm going to make a disclosure here. I'm going to kind of stop everything because I feel like I need to make a definition of what I believe spirit is. Spirit is always going to have a positive and a negative, a light and a dark, an up and down, an in and out. And so when we have those understandings that you have to have shadows in order to have light. So like in the fairy kingdom, we have beings in the fairies that sit there, like, give me an example in my kid. My kid always felt or had to have a hard time with depression, my youngest. And there would be fairy in the fairy kingdom beings in that bedroom because clothes would be on the floor, so they'd cover up into the clothes energetically. Now, people would think, oh, there's a dark being in your bedroom. No, what that being was dark because it was sucking up the negative depression energy. Now, when my kid moved out, I had to ask that being to leave and move on to the garbage dump or someone else that needed that energy to clear out because that energy was needing to be done. We didn't need to keep that negative energy in that bedroom anymore because my kid moved out. Okay? So things need to change, but negative things aren't necessarily always negative. But yet we have opportunities like this child where it was a negative energy. It was, I'm going to label it more on the, I wouldn't call it a demon, but it was close to a darkness like that. And this child literally would go black and would not necessarily be there anymore because, and that's where we need to really make sure that when we're dealing with these energies that we understand that not all negative is bad. But yet there is negativity. The extremes are really bad, just like extremes of complete light may be as negative as ever. So it's trying to find that balance of what is this here to teach me? What is this trying to show me? Okay. Like for me, when I was dealing with the child, I wasn't there to fix that. I wasn't able to take that child's being off of it because the home life wasn't conclusive for that. The parents didn't know better, and it would have just restuck when it went home. But in the classroom, I had light to balance its darkness. And that was my goal, was to create balance so that the school could, the classroom can run with normalcy, or as much normalcy as you can with kindergartners. So with that, it's how do we work with these beings that are around us? How do we say, oh, what is this here to teach me? How can I work with this? And Todd, I'm going to come to you now, sweetie. Okay. Archangel Michael wants to let you know. Okay. Are you wanting to hear this, sweetie, in this forum, or would you like me to tell you off the forum?
Unmute yourself, Todd. I'm trying to unmute. There we go.
Okay, I'm sorry. My chair makes too much noise, so I can stay muted.
You're
But yes,
fine,
you can
so
go ahead and talk.
sit still.
Okay. So Archangel Michael wants me to let you know. He's wanting you to know that, okay, dude, you're going to be going through so many new openings. You're coming up. Okay. And he's saying that the fear that you've had and what we've worked with, listen to this, dear one, on how to keep discernment, how to keep that filter going, because he says that you've been too open too long. It's time for you to trust yourself to know that you could put on your cloak. You've worn a cloak before in past lives, right?
In this life.
So in your past life, you've not necessarily been a monk, but you've been something in that realm. And that cloak that you wore was your protection. Okay. And he's saying that you need to start wearing your cloak in this lifetime. Okay. Not necessarily real, but energetically. because you've been too open to too much, and your body cannot and does not want to handle it anymore. So he wants you to start using your filter. And he's saying that as this one talked about your gatekeeper, you want to update your gatekeeper about what's going on. Your gatekeeper's been sleeping, and you want to wake him up. Actually, I feel like it's a her. You want to wake her up. Okay? And support your soul, what your soul's journey is in this lifetime. Okay? Because your gifts that you're going to be giving are going to be many to many people, but you're going to have to be able to know when to keep it outside of you and when to let it in. Okay? Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Because you've been too vulnerable in the shadow side. Because vulnerability is a strength if we use it to a strength. Okay. Do you have any questions around that?
No.
Okay.
I've been working on that for the last month.
So. Okay. Okay, but he wants you to let you know that he actually wants you to quicken up that work, because he knows that you can snap the finger and know it. You've got the tools to know it. And so he's saying that you're going to have to know it before the end of the year.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Practice makes better, he's saying. He likes that saying that I use. Practice makes better, but start practicing. Who's around me? Is it my energy or their energy that I'm feeling? Oh, it's theirs. Out. Mm-hmm. Okay. So start working on that filter, but put on your cloak in the morning, my dear. Okay.
Yeah.
They gave me one too. Okay, because your gatekeeper wants to do some more work, and it's just using her as a tool. Okay. Now, if you come up with something else, like I said, I just heard it's more feminine than not, but your truth is your truth.
Oh no,
okay?
I have multiple. So
yes, this one I'm talking about is that core one, the one that's been with you for many, 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 many your lifetime since day one.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got several family members that just want to say good job. As a unison. You had good family. They're saying good job.
Thank you.
They're loving you. They're very much loving you. Okay. So with that, there's so many. Thank you, Todd. Thank you very much. There's many, many gifts that we all are going to be receiving. And it's for us to say, okay, what is here for me? Am I going to trust myself to walk with it? Wait a minute. My team around me, my guides around me, we need to practice to do this. And we need to trust what's around us. And saying, not in my house. Okay. Matter of fact, the other day I had something in my house and it didn't feel right. And I called in my house angels. I called in my archangels. Nothing helped. Called in my dragon, cleared it out right away because it was in that kind of energy field. So it's being willing to work with what's around us and where we're going with this. Okay. So Sophie, you have family that is kind of coming around you. Would you like to hear something, my dear?
I would love to hear something.
You've got a couple that have been around you. Did you have a sister or somebody who was like a sister to you who has passed? She passed. I'm hearing the word. Some reason 5 is coming up. So 5 months, 5 years. She would have been. She feels very close with you, like she was kind of a sister heart, or someone who spent some sisterish times with you, a good friend, or there's a closeness that you have with her. She there's something about, I wouldn't call it wine, but there's something about something that you two did together that was kind of like a girl thing that you two only did. And I see like wine glasses, but there wasn't always wine in it.
I can't figure out who that would be then. No.
Okay.
Come to me, I'm sure.
Well, I'm just going to keep going with, because they're showing me pictures and I just have to trust. So either that wine glass represented something for you as a metaphor,
Mhm.
because for me, what wine glasses mean is that there's cherished times together. There
Mhm.
was loving times together. There was times where you just spent relaxing and just talking, or there was times when you were able to go and have a get together with people.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
I'm wondering if this is someone who passed over that I didn't know about. And that's a possibility.
Mm.
Yeah, because she feels more recent than 5 years.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering
Okay.
if it's 5 months or somewhere in that realm, you know,
Okay.
that there's, um, she says that she was in a home when she went.
Okay, probably my sister-in-law.
Okay. She didn't have Alzheimer's, but she kind of lost
Mhm.
at the end.
Yeah.
She's not feeling quite right in her head. She's clearer now, but she says that she couldn't take care of herself anymore.
Uh-huh.
And it was more because of her mind than her body, even though her body started giving out too.
Mhm. Mhm.
She is she had so much fun with you. She's so grateful that you had the relationship that you did with what you guys had to work with.
Uh-huh.
She's saying something about the men. Didn't make it easy. The men just kind of, they were complicated, she says, and you guys had that girl knowing about things.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
She has a huge smile on her face and very much love in her heart for you. She wants you to know that she went gracefully, that she was not necessarily there at the end, that she wasn't there when her body went, and so she went very gracefully. She says she was in the angel's arms when she left, so don't worry about how she left.
Okay, good.
And if you know of anybody who needs to hear that, she's wishing you would spread that around, that she
I
went
will.
gracefully. She says that she's with your mom, and there's a couple others that are on this other side that she's spending time with, and they're having fun. They helped her integrate in
Good.
the
She
process of
needed
life.
that. Yes.
Yes. She's saying that's one reason why she kind of didn't have her mentalness, is because they had to kind of give her a chance to integrate into crossing over. And if she didn't have that, she would have kicked and screamed and she wouldn't have gone. And it would have been harder.
Yeah.
So it was the universe's way of saying, okay, we're going to show you where you're going to go, so you'll go more gracefully. Okay.
Wow.
There again, she has great love for you and great support.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. She says, keep going, sweetie. You've got great love in you, so keep showing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And trust coming out a little bit more than you are. You got things to show.
I need to do that. I am aware of that. Yes.
keep showing. Keep showing.
Yeah.
You can't show when you get where I'm at, so show it now. She's saying. She's kind of snarky that way, wasn't she?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So thank you very much for that. It's nice to be able to see family, because family, that's one thing that I hope people can understand, that people don't stay the same when they cross over.
Right.
And the longer that they're crossing over, the more that they're more aware of what the bigger picture was in this world that we're walking in.
Mm-hmm. I had a difficult relationship with my mother while she was alive. And since she's crossed over, I have a better relationship with her.
Yes, because she saw the bigger picture. She saw the wisdom that this life was supposed to teach her. But she doesn't necessarily get it real well, until pretty much in the last short time. So it took her a little while to get out of the ABCs of life,
Uh-huh.
if that makes any sense. And
Oh, it
and
makes perfect sense.
and
Yes.
she's very much happy that you are who you are. She says, you have done things that I wish I could have done, but life didn't let me. Her parents taught her well how not to be graceful in life.
Yes.
So it was kind of something that she could not help what she was doing. She only knew what she was taught, and she was not taught well to be graceful and loving in the way that you deserved in your gentle soul.
Uh-huh.
And so it was hard for you to become open earlier because of the harshness that was around you. And I don't want to call life harsh, but when you're a sensitive soul, even somebody screaming can be harsh.
You have to protect yourself. Yes.
Yes, the vibration of that. And so with that, that you didn't get that chance to be this vulnerableness that you are able to be now. And that's what she wants you to be, is be light, be showing, be yourself, be who you are, be the gift that you are and you've always been, but be the gift that you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When we can have the door open and the door starts coming. But, like I said, once I start doing mediumship, it's almost hard to turn it off until I say I'm done. It's like, and I'll light a candle and say, okay, everybody go home, and I'll do my clearing song, and I'll do things to help clear out and send everybody back to where they need to go because they can't stay here. They definitely can't stay here. So is there anything I can help you with, my dear?
Not tonight. Not, thank you.
You're welcome. So I hope that I've been clearer about how we can work with things. And right now, too, I wanted to add on that when we're doing mediumship or we're having spirit around us, it does trigger emotions in us. It triggers that sadness or it triggers happiness. So we really have to make sure, is it them or is it us? And many times when we're working with loved ones around us, it triggers grief again. Because as I posted on the scrolls the other night, that grief has no timeline. Like my parents have been gone, let's see, my kid is 26 years, and my mom has been 20, see, my kid's 22, so 21 years. I have to check how old my kids are to know how long my parents have been gone. But the changes that I went through in September happened in the same week that my mom passed, which triggered a lot of grief. And then my cat passed away in the same week. And so things just got triggered and triggered and triggered. But when we have those triggers of grief and knowing that our loved ones around us, we can feel the love that they're giving us because things have changed. Things have worked through. And it's interesting to feel how much love is around us and seeing how much love is around you, like you, Sophia, you've got angels, your family, you've got generations, you've got guides, you've got individual beings that have been around you, supporting you. You even got a couple star people that are wanting to support you because you've got a couple home people with them. You came from one of the planets in one of your lifetimes, and they're here supporting you in this lifetime because those are the updates we're getting is from that realm lately, it seems like. So if you've been headachy, if you've been a little disorientated, vertigo, all those things, those are a lot of the downloads we're getting right now, I'm being told. Okay. So when we're having these feelings around us and those energies around us, remember to take care of your body and say, I need a break. I need to stay home tonight. My soul needs to stay with my body tonight so it can heal, it can do the work. And if we can work on that, saying, my soul, the beings around us, the love that's around us, stay out there, come in and love, but stay out there. That makes any sense? So trusting that journey is a gift. Okay. Hopefully that was clear because that was kind of jumbled. But when I'm getting downloads about what to say, sometimes it's like it's hard to get it out in the timing that it is. Like I've had to tell my dad, slow down. I'm still a human walking this path.
And we will also be putting all of your contact information, your phone number and website and so forth, on the videos as we post them onto YouTube. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Oracle Scroll. Please forward any questions, comments, or inquiries to theoraclescroll@gmail.com, and we'll look forward to entertaining you again very soon in the next episode.